here today with one of the 2024 Kentucky Wrestling Coaches Association Hall of Fame inductees. Sir, if you would, tell us who you are.
I am Wes Watts with Madison Central currently.
And we have 5 people in the Hall of Fame this year. You, me, Coach Burnham from Christian County, Jerry Whelan, he was a state champion himself. He was a head coach at Oldham County, Lawrence County, and Ashland Blazer had state champions at all 3 schools. And Darren Gamble, he was the head coach at Johnson Central for a very long time before his son took over, Blake. We're going to talk to all those guys, but we're going to do like a mini state championship review with everybody, but we want to get to know people, how they got here. So Wes, man, did you wrestle in school? How did you get involved with wrestling?
Yeah, I actually started way back in 1982, 83, back with Coach Brewer over at Lafayette.
Okay.
So I think I was too small to play football at the time, and I actually got into wrestling and fell in love with it ever since. So
now, if I'm not mistaken, that 83 year, you had Randall Young on the team, correct? Landon's dad?
He was part of the team.
Okay, that's because I've got, in Landon's review video, we have just a little snippet of Randall getting his, it's either his district or region medal from Henry Clay High School. He wins the heavyweight division that year, and he gets the biggest ovation out of everybody in the whole gym. So you wrestled in school. What got you into the coaching aspect of it?
I went to college, and like I said, I didn't achieve every goal that I wanted to, and then I still love the sport. And then once I graduated college, I just got back into it and actually started over at Dunbar and helped get the program started there. And spent 11, 12 years over there.
Okay.
And so I thought, well, maybe that's enough. Maybe I think I'm going to sit out. And then I don't know. Then of course my son was born, and then I moved to Madison County, and I was like, looks like they need got Coach Green or Coach Wolf, and got another program going down there. So,
and of your tenure, walk us through your state champions that you've had.
Oh man, that's going to be some time.
I think Thomas Deck is probably the most known from Madison. Of course, you got Zach Cowan. If you can't tell, guys, we're at Bellarmine's. I believe this is called Frazier Hall, if I'm not mistaken, right across the parking lot from Knights Hall, where, as of this filming last night, the Bellarmine Knights dueled Iowa Hawkeyes, and it was fun to be a part of. But Zach is a Madison Central wrestler, a state champion. He's on the channel Zach Cowan. So we know Zach's from Madison Central. Thomas Deck, I believe, is a 3-timer from Madison Central. Who else have you got?
Yeah, well, actually, when I was at Dunbar, we had my very first state champion was actually Zach Brewer.
Okay.
He was my coach's kid, so it made it kind of special. So he got a first, second, third, and a fourth, all 4 years.
Actually, we have Zach's video. I believe Zach has passed away on us. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's what I thought. And we'd like to do a memorial video for Zach's family. Maybe with you, we can get it lined up. Now it was Zach Brewer.
And Zach Brewer. We also had a Tyler Voth over there, and we had several second, thirds, and fourths, and all through there. So then we got to start it back again with the brothers down at Madison Central again. So
and yet as a Gentry, you want to leave Gentry out. Gentry was a great wrestler.
And Thomas, yeah. Gentry's one of those ones that should have won it.
Yeah, I think he was on my list of best to not win it because there's so many good second place, third place. Like right now, the Rainey brothers at Union County. I mean, there's some great wrestlers that are going to come up short against the Raineys when. Any other year they would probably win it, maybe multiple times. When you got 2 of the best in the country coming through, this sometimes that's the way the timeline lines up. So, coaching, wrestling, been involved as wrestler, wrestling dad, wrestling coach, to the new people coming into our sport, because we're here at the Coaches Association Clinic later on this evening. Is the as of the filming of this, is the Hall of Fame ceremony. A lot of coaches getting into it first time. Maybe they're just doing it or getting into the sport because there is no coach. They're like, we want to start a program. Maybe the school doesn't have the funds or the ability to hire somebody, and they got to draft a dad, an uncle, a football coach, another sporting coach. Give them some advice that you picked up along the way that you'd like to share. That way the legacy can continue.
I think my biggest thing is where we've had success is actually we're in it for the kids. Not everybody wants to be a state champion. not everybody's going to be a great wrestler,
Mm-hmm.
but you're in it to hopefully develop that kid in to teach him some hard work, some discipline, and give him, I guess if he's been there 4 years of a great high school memory and team bonding, and
Absolutely.
and how that works and plays into everyday life. So
That's excellent advice there, Coach. I'm glad you were able to say that. And talking about kids, just on the referee side, because you guys know I officiate, is especially at like the elementary and middle school levels, and even some high school, but definitely elementary and middle school. When I go in and do a coaches meeting before the meet, I'll tell the coaches in the meet, hey, you know your kids better than we do. If you know you have a youngster with a behavioral issue, remember what it is, and they're starting to show signs of maybe losing control of their emotions or going to act out, take them outside, take them out of the gym area, be the coach, be the parent, be the guardian. That way there's not, the viral moment of a kid losing their behavior, losing their cool at a meet, and they're going to be branded with that the whole time they're wrestling or in life. And I couldn't tell you the number of parents or coaches, guardians that have come to me. We've seen, now we got kids wrestling at 4 years old, maybe even younger than that in some tournaments. I think the youngest we go is 4. Is you see them, they know they have, they'll tell you, hey, this kid's, behavioral this, behavioral that. And then a few years later, their medication is kind of lower than what it was. They're not in as many special needs classes or behavior classes. And then by the time they get to high school, they're, I hate to use the word fully functional, but they're in with their classmates. They're not having to go to special classes. And you see their parents or coaches or whatever it may be, and they're like, their behavior changed whenever they started wrestling. Whenever coach would make them do push-ups for acting out, or they would have to sit on the sidelines and couldn't wrestle and they didn't understand, now they're starting to see. So that was a great point of just giving them life lessons, man, outside the mat room or off the mat. Awesome. So, Coach, congratulations on your induction.
Okay, thank you.
I know I've refereed several of your duels, your individual tournaments, been to your school a few times, and I believe Madison Central kid. I don't know if I got to officiate any Dunbar kids when you were there, but I know I've got to officiate several Madison Central kids, and they've always been, well behaved. Couldn't ask for a better crop of young men and young women to come through. So, Coach, man, we will wrap this one up. Thank you all for watching this little snippet. We will see you guys and girls on the mats.
Right.
We're here today at Bellarmine University for the Kentucky Wrestling Coaches Association Banquet and Hall of Fame. And we have another member of the Hall of Fame with us today. Sir, if you would, tell us who you are.
My name is Robert Burnham. I was a wrestling coach at Christian County for 23 years, either as assistant or as head coach.
And, of course, for those fans of the YouTube channel, the review series, you've already seen Coach doing a review video with us from a Fort Campbell match in 1969, and of course you were stationed at, you go into that in your video. We're not going to cover that ground here, but it was cool to have you coach in Christian County, be stationed in Christian. Well, I guess Fort Campbell is in Kentucky and Tennessee, but nevertheless, you were there, and we got one of the state champion videos on the channel. So, Coach, Hall of Fame Day. There's 5 of us going in. You, Darren Gamble, Wes Watts, Jerry Whelan, all 4 coaches, all 4 deserving coaches, and of course myself going in as an official and for my works with the YouTube series and all the videos we've been able to find. So I know what it means to me, but let's hear your side of it. Being inducted into the Hall of Fame, it's a very short list, very prestigious, as it's been around for, I think this is the 9th or 10th class, but still they only take, I believe, 5 each year. A lot of deserving people are in the Hall of Fame, and there's a whole laundry list of people that I'm sure at some point will be inducted. But to you, with your time with Christian County, just kind of, what did it feel like to be inducted? You're here today.
It was actually a shock. I mean, it was something that you think about, sometimes, when you're done coaching. I obviously, it's not something I even considered when I was coaching, and you wonder, okay, maybe maybe I've done enough to be considered, but it's an incredible honor to have people consider you to be to the point of a Hall of Fame coach, because for me, when I think Hall of Fame, I think Jim Placer and Jim Perrin.
Yeah.
The amount of things they did were incredible, and to think that someone thinks somewhere along the line thought that I was not, on the same level as them, makes that just that much more an outstanding honor.
Absolutely, and like you said, Coach Perrin, 1988 team state champions, Christian County. I don't know how many individuals that he had. The number escapes me. I think on the YouTube channel, I think we have 22 of the 25 Christian County state champions. There's a gentleman from 1972. We don't have the video for Frank McWilliams. Jimmy Perrin from 84. And then we have the review video, but we haven't actually got the video 1979. And I can't remember that gentleman's name.
William G.
Yes, G. That's it. Yeah, William, I'm sorry, man. We've done your video and that slipped my head. But, you had some absolute hammers come through that program. Let's go through some of them. I think Jacarion, he's graduated, correct, from Central Michigan?
He's got one more year to go.
Okay.
So
Jacarion Merritt, 2019 state champion. You had that 2020 team come in second place.
Yes.
Most years, that team could have won.
We were talking about that the other day.
Yep.
We beat everybody by 100, but Union County beat us by 100.
Yeah,
so that just says a lot about the talent that comes through Union County as well.
Absolutely. And, of course, you had Nico on that team.
Yes.
A 2020 state champion. I don't know how many placers that you had. You were there for A.J. Green and Chris Perry, correct?
I was there for A.J. Green. I was assistant coach for A.J. Green and Chris Perry.
And that was 04.
04, yeah. And then we had following Nico, we had JT Adams, JT Adams, and then AJ Harvey was my last one as a coach. Now I was an assistant coach that year, but technically I consider it 6 because I was a coach or the head coach for those 6, and then we had 54 state placers. It was just always something that I was able to do because I had a spouse who would let me.
Yeah.
But also because it was just something that was important to me to see a program that was in need of help, and that was how I was starting out. I'm going to volunteer and help out, and then it just bloomed into something else, and then I was able to get people to come in who had wrestled, Damian Level and Anthony Smith, and then Tony Harris, which Tony's been around forever. But I was able to get those people to come in and help us out, and we were able to grow that program from the 7 or 8 kids that we started with to middle school state champions to high school state champions. Coach D Level, who took over from me, just texted me the other day. He had 70 kids from high school to middle school to elementary school in the room this past week.
My goodness.
So it's something we're always that's one of the things that I want to have happen is that the program continues to grow and continues to get better, and I truly believe I have in place a head coach now that's going to bring them to heights that I never dreamed of.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things that we tried to do is I was a history teacher, and I researched the history of the program and found out how impressive it had been and wanted to bring that back. That was one of my goals, was to make the program a program that Jim Perrin would want to come back and watch. Yeah. And I felt that I had done that when I finally finished with my coaching and was ready to move on to admin in the high school.
I completely understand, and of course the Christian County State Championship history is well documented on the review series. If you're from western part of the state, any part of Kentucky, even like the Missouri, Indiana, Illinois area, because Christian County is able to travel all that area and get matches, or it's anything to do with wrestling, go back and watch the Christian County playlist. A lot of great wrestlers in there, a lot of great matches, a lot of great names over the years, and a lot of your Rodney Hawkins, your, like you said, Damien. You mentioned Damien. I think Damien was one of the first videos I actually done in person of somebody that I really didn't know, and it was nice to get him and Livingston Merritt together, right there together. So had a big hand in getting my YouTube success going. So, Coach, man, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Really appreciate your time, and I can't wait to hear your speech tonight at the banquet. Of course, I'm going to get dressed up before you guys see me on the podium. Thank you all for watching this clip with Coach here, Coach Burnham. We will see you guys and girls on the mats. They say great minds think alike, even greater minds dress alike. Sir, if you would, tell us who you are.
I'm Jerry Whelan.
And of course, we're here today at Burnham University, Louisville, Kentucky, for the 2024 Kentucky Wrestling Coaches Association Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Coach, much deserving of your enshrinement into the Hall of Fame for the coaches. You've been at multiple schools, but you've got three schools. You've had multiple state champions. I said multiple, but you've coached multiple. You've had state champions at Ashland with Grant Kruger, the Mertens at Lawrence County, and then, of course, Jason Talbot, most outstanding in '96 at Oldham County. You've been other places, middle school, all that kind of stuff, but just a career that should be replicated. It's not what you gather, it's what you scatter. We know that's a saying. So, Coach, right before the ceremony here, we're up here in one of the media arch rooms. What does it mean to you to be in the Hall of Fame?
I'm just so grateful, and it makes me think about my coaches, Coach Chuck Anderson when I was at Eastern, Coach Phil Coombs when I was at Central High School, Luda Dixon, who would come over to our club at E.P. Thomas Sawyer Park, and just all these other people. It wasn't me. It was all of them who helped me get here. And great wrestlers that I had, and just blessings along the way. Lewis Owens, who was a superintendent at EP, where they would put on wrestling tournaments, throughout the year, and I'd go if I was too young to wrestle, work at the scoreboard, or the chance to wrestle both freestyle and Greco. I'm grateful, man. I'm proud, but I'm very, very grateful for the blessings I've had of all these great people who've been around me. Coach Anderson's in the Hall of Fame, Coach Coombs is in the Hall of Fame. I'm sure Coach Dixon's in the Hall of Fame.
And, of course, you're a two-time state champion as well, 1980, 1981. Now, of course, your 1981 review video is on the YouTube channel, the State Championship Review Series. And just a second ago, we talked about some of the names that you've coached. Your Jason Talbots, two-time state champion, 94 and 96, most outstanding in 96, one of the best wrestlers that's come through the state of Kentucky. Jacob and Jarius Merton at Lawrence County. You got 5 state championships out of those two guys, those two. Jacob, two-time most outstanding. Then at your last coaching stop at Ashland, Grant Kruger. I believe Grant beat the number 1 kid in the state that year in the finals, if I'm not mistaken. The gentleman from Henry Clay, I believe he was number 1 ranked, or he beat him somewhere along the way, and much deserving. I mean, what year did you actually start, assistant coaching, head coaching? What year was that?
I started 86, 87 with Coach Anderson at Louisville Eastern as an assistant.
And you hung it up at Ashland what year?
2017 or 18.
So, pretty good career there. This part of the video is more, I guess, for the people that couldn't be here, can't hear the speech. But what would you like to pass on? The sport's growing, boys and girls, teams are popping up all over the state. In just a few short little quick hitters, what would be some advice that you've picked up that you wish the next generation would absorb, implement into their practice or their philosophies? That way we know that the good information is getting out to the people that it needs to get out to.
The lessons to learn in wrestling will help you in every endeavor you have in life. I had a long military career. I was in the military for 34 years, and I never would have been as successful in that if I hadn't been a wrestler. Just the lessons of, taking that chance, whether it's shooting for a shot or a job interview. As far as matches go, and I think I told you this before, I always had 3 goals in every match. Get it 1 takedown. If I chose down, get 1 escape or 2 reversal points, and never go to my back. And if you do those 3 things, you're going to win matches. And I think, particularly now that they've changed the rules a little bit more, to add 3-point takedown, it's still true today.
and going to your back four, you could be down 7-0 before you even realize what's going on. Couple turns after that, it's a tech fall. Well, Coach, congratulations.
Thank you.
Make sure we get that handshake on video there. Much deserving induction into the Hall of Fame. Of course, all 5 of us are going to be at the boys state tournament this year, being recognized before the placement rounds, and it's much deserving. We know the Coach Whelan reach is far touching, whether it's Louisville, Oldham County, Lawrence County, whatever you've done there at Boyd County and Ashland, that area, the people that are now starting programs up, different schools in that area. They talk about in football, there's that coaching tree. A lot of people now have the Jerry Whelan root system, so they couldn't have learned from anybody better on and off the mat. So, Coach, congratulations on your induction. Thank you guys for watching this portion. We will see you guys and girls on the mats. Here we are today, Bellarmine University, Louisville, Kentucky, and it is the 2024 Kentucky Wrestling Coaches Association Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Our guest here today was my high school coach, and I'm glad I'm getting to do this part of it and I have the interview with him. He's going to be inducting me, as you'll see later in this video. Sir, if you would, tell us who you are.
I'm Darren Gamble, one of the assistant coaches now at Johnson Central High School. I was a head coach of high school, Johnson Central, for probably 25 years, and now I'm here just kind of helping my son. And
of course, you were my high school coach, and you had a pretty good career yourself in high school. 2-time state placer, 1990 third place, 1989 fourth place. Excellent career there. And you had, of course, Coach Steve Trimble, longtime supporter. You got to coach his son as well. Mm-hmm. You got to coach your son, Blake, excellent wrestler in his own right. Along the way, of all the people you've got to be around in the coaching realm, wrestling, what the stuff that you've picked up that you want the next generations, the next Darren Gambles, the next crop coming up, what would you like to pass on to them?
Alex, what I'd like to pass along is something that, wrestling has changed my life. Played a huge impact on who I am today. Over the years, I've made thousands and thousands of friends, whether it be the student athletes. I think everyone I ever coached has become a lifelong friend of mine. We're one huge family. The people I've coached against, even though we competed against each other off the mat, outside of the gym, really good close friends, and I always like to think of wrestling as a huge, big family.
And that's what we've said in so many videos on the State Championship Review Series is it's kind of wrestling against the world, and that's the mentality that we take. A lot of times we know what goes into it, setting the mats up, trying to get to gym, long bus rides, having to practice wherever the basketball team or other sports not practicing. We practice on a landing for years now. Johnson has its own wrestling room, but it's just it's a great community to be a part of. Very, very deserving on your end. Just the program, from what I've been told, when you took it over, was pretty much on its last legs. Correct? Am I right about that?
Yeah. When I took over, it was we had two wrestlers that ever had been on the mat before, and they were juniors, so it pretty much started from scratch, which the people before me did an excellent job, and Coach Bob Horn came in and kind of kept it going while I was off to college, and I'm proud of where our team is at.
Absolutely. As of this filming, 3 team runner-up trophies at Johnson, 12 state champions, some great names that's come through there. Your J.J. Jew.
2 runner-ups.
3 runner-ups.
3 runner-ups.
Yep, three runner-ups, 12 individual state champions. And I know how I felt when I got the notice of being inducted. So whenever you get that notification you're being inducted, what was the emotions there? How did it feel?
Alex, I'll be honest with you, I've never been more surprised about anything in my life. My son got the honor of letting me know, and I had all the family there, and it is one of the biggest honors I guess I've ever received in my life.
And of course, we're here today together, and my freshman banquet Coach gets up and first thing he says in front of the whole, winter sports banquet, just so you all know, I hate public speaking. And I saw him out in town after we got noticed we were going to be in it. And I said, Coach, would you care to induct me into the Hall of Fame just for that? All these years later, I still remember that. So, and it's great that you're going in for the coaching aspect. And like I said in my part of this, if you'd have told me when I started wrestling I was going to be inducted into any wrestling Hall of Fame, I'd have been like, come on, what are we doing? But here we are all these years later, and I'm just glad that you were. I think I quit about every day through my headgear. I quit the team I don't know how many times. I wanted to win so bad, I just didn't have any experience, and I think that was the competitive fire that pushed me to be a referee and maybe help the next generation coming up, the review series, make it as good as we can, give something that people can be proud of, no matter what school, what year, what part of the state they're from. We want everybody to know, hey, Kentucky Wrestling's here, man, and we're not going anywhere. So, like I said, Coach, man, congratulations. We want to get the handshake on video. Thank you all for watching this with Coach Gamble. Be sure to watch the Hall of Fame videos after this. We will see you guys and girls on the mats. Sometimes you gotta interview yourself. I'm here with a good friend of the channel, good friend of mine. He's the head coach currently of Tates Creek Wrestling, Mr. Scotty Teeter. Now, as you guys have already saw in other snips on this video, we're here today at Burnham University in Louisville for the Kentucky Wrestling Coaches Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And Scotty was the first person to reach out and say, hey, congratulations on your appointment. And it's kind of hard to ask myself questions, answer questions, so we're going to let Scotty kind of throw some questions at me and see what I can come up with. So, Scotty, man, let me have it.
Well, it's an honor to get to interview you. I'll be honest, when we got thinking about Hall of Fame members this year, we have a Distinguished Service Award, and we were thinking about people, and I was on a car ride from E-Town, coming from a wrestling thing, and it just popped in my head. I was like, I know the perfect guy. I was like, this guy's given so much to wrestling, officiating, and the history of wrestling in Kentucky, and he's very, very, very deserving of this award.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been some of the names in the Hall of Fame. Your Gary Canners, your Joe Carr, Rusty Parks. So like today, we've done Coach Whelan just a minute ago. Wes Watts, Darren Gamble, Jerry, Robert Burnham from Christian County. Just to be in the sentence with those. If you'd have told me when I started wrestling as a 112-pound freshman in 1999, I would be in the Hall of Fame. All these years later, I've been like, come on, for what? It wasn't going to be for wrestling. So I'm glad that we're here, and I'm glad that the community thinks enough of me and what we've been able to do to say, hey, thank you. This is our way of saying thank you. So
yeah, speaking of that, I was going to ask you when you started wrestling and where at.
I started the 1999-2000 season at Johnson Central. Darren Gamble was my head coach. Yep. 112 pounds. Back then we had districts, then regions, then state. My claim to fame is a 5-12 record. My first year, I was very proud of those 5 wins. We didn't have middle school wrestling. We didn't have elementary. There was an announcement made. I think it was the Friday before practice started. Anybody wanting to sign up for wrestling, be in the gym at 4 o'clock with shorts and a T-shirt, and there was
That's how a lot of us have started.
Yeah, so that was my induction or start to outside of professional, watching it on TV and stuff. That was my introduction to high school wrestling, man.
So obviously it made a huge impact on you, and you decided to go on and become a wrestling official. What made you decide to official, and through the years, what's one of your favorite memories from officiating?
I never will forget this. I grew up beside of the athletic trainer for John Central, who's long passed away, a good friend of mine, Joe Taylor. He retired from the City of Tampa Fire Department, moved up here with the Paintsville Yankees in 1980, and we were at a wrestling meet. It was my senior year, and the referee that we got was from West Virginia and like Charleston area, and it was the last second because the guy that was coming, I don't remember his name, he was coming from, it was either E-Town or it wasn't Louisville. It was either E-Town or Northern Kentucky. He had to cancel, so they had to like hurry and get somebody. I don't even think he may have been licensed. Don't tell nobody I said that. And I was sitting there watching. I was like, I can do this, man. I can do this. And back then, you had to send off after I graduated. You had to mail in your test. They Scantron, send it back to you, and you got your license. And I started when I was the 03-04 season. I was 18, and my favorite memory of officiating is the first time I got notified of doing the state tournament. It was the 2020 state tournament. I got the email from Mike Barron of all the names on it, and I was just like, Region 8, where I'm from, is so big. Greenup County down to Letcher County, Mason County, and covering that end of the state for the last 18, 19 years, I mean, there's a lot of travel, a lot of teams popping up, a lot of meets all over the place, and I'm just like, it validated everything that I've done.
Had to make you feel, I made it. I'm good enough. Like,
I
people
didn't,
have seen it. You did the work, and people noticed it.
And that I ordered a ring. I didn't bring it today, but that was the first thing I wanted was a ring.
So from that, you've been officiating a long time, and over the last few years, you've started the championship series and YouTube videos and a lot of social media posts. So what kind of guided you into doing that and digging into that history like that?
There was a need for it. There was such a need, and this is going to be in my speech. You guys will see it here later in the video, but there was such a need for the community was growing, and a long time ago, a gentleman told me the only thing worse than no information is bad information. And I felt the need to take on getting out proper information about how many state champions each school had, how many team state champions, most outstanding wrestlers, where the tournament has been held all over the state. And you would hear these stories that I knew wasn't true, and I didn't want to call people out and say, no, you're wrong. I just wanted to provide a platform that if I put it out, if I make the post, it's accurate. It's not third hand, somebody heard from somebody that knew somebody that was there and saw Hulk Hogan slam Andre the Giant at Takes Creek Gym. That's not what happened. And we make sure that whatever we put out is accurate. So the community as a whole, no matter what year you wrestled, how old you are, what school, what part of the state, it's accurate. This is our history, and I want the community, no matter what school, what grade, whatever, to know this is where we're at, and this is where we can continue to go.
Yeah, history can definitely get foggy just by word of mouth and just memory as we get older, I think I was a lot better than I thought I was, and I've watched some old videos of mine, and I'm like, well, maybe I wasn't. So, but this is fun. Being that, all right, so who's your GOAT? Who's your GOAT wrestler on all the reviews you've done, and who's your GOAT coach?
To me, and this is just my opinion, is Dominic Black from Henry Clay, 1987 state champion, most outstanding wrestler, went on to West Virginia University, All-American, come in 4th place. Then his amazing military service, retired as a lieutenant colonel, his Pan Am Games championship, his world team championships in individuals in Greco and freestyle, being in the West Virginia University Hall of Fame. Dominic Black, in my opinion, is the best Kentucky wrestler that's ever come through the state.
Great pick. What about coach?
The best coach,
it's not going to hurt anybody's feelings.
To me, you got to look at what they were up against, and I think generationally, I think Phil Coombs is the early. Your 70s, 80s, you get into the 90s, early 2000s, it's Joe Carr and Rusty Parks by far. Yeah. And then you got to look at what Union County's done for the last, 20 years going on, the number of individual state champions, team state champions. So I think it's unfair to compare the coaching, but I think those three
all amazing Hall of Fame coaches.
That collective group is just that's my goats for coaches.
How do you think the effects of the videos and social media posts, the trivia, has had an effect on wrestling over the last few years, and where do you see it going?
The review series, I love being able to say this, is it is the connecting glue between the generations and the geography of Kentucky. 1964 was our first KHSAA tournament. We know there were state tournaments held from like 1959 until the KHSAA adopted it. I found the articles on that when the boards were created, the committees were created in 63. The trivia, that kind of started just on a whim, and I thought this would be a great addition. I didn't think it would be good enough for a video, but I think people would enjoy the challenge. Like the movie Red Dragon about Hannibal Lecter, whenever they go to him and say, "We thought you'd enjoy the challenge." Well, my implications, you think you're smarter than me. No, we're not smarter than you. You just had disadvantages. I think that is the challenge for a lot of people, is because, as you said, sometimes memories kind of stuff runs together. Events kind of, was it this year, was it that year? And I think that I'm of the belief of making the entire wrestling community, wrestlers, coaches, parents, guardians, fans, administrators, everybody up through the newest elementary wrestler to the most senior person involved with the sport at the smarter of a fan base we are, the smarter of a collective we are, the better the sport can be, the faster it can grow. Like last night we had the Iowa duel. If you'd have told me 5 years ago we would have Iowa coming to do a duel at Bellarmine, I would have never believed it. But last night we watched it with our own eyes, and we had 4 Kentucky wrestlers in the lineup,
Yeah.
4 of the 10 wrestlers of the weights in the lineup, and you're just like, wow,
It's
40% of Kentucky's of the lineup is Kentucky guys. And it was just great to see. And I'm always open for suggestions. If you have a question you'd like to pose to me or something to that effect, reach out to me. I'm easy to access.
Speaking of that, I grew up around the same time as you. I was a senior in 98. Mm-hmm. We had 70, 80 teams in Kentucky. Now we're up to about 135, 140. We back then we had 1 college team in Kentucky wrestling. Now we're up to about 7 or 8. Including a D1 school now. Where do you see, that's 25 years that you've been in wrestling, where do you see wrestling in 25 more years?
I think that the girls aspect of wrestling, well, in college it's called women's wrestling, but I think the addition to that and Kentucky's embracement of that, having our own state tournament, this year having our own state duels, 2025 girls state duels with all the boys, I think that will be what, I don't want to say pushes this over the edge, but I think that gives so many other people the ability to be a fan, to be involved. And I see the sport, I see the girls going to a 2-day state tournament before too long. I see the boys, of course, having to keep the 2-day. And the state duels, the way the teams are growing, I could see that maybe being a 2-day, maybe even making another class or something to that effect. UPike could start a girls team. I think they're the newest team in the state, boys-wise. A lot of, you guys know I'm Eastern Kentucky is where I'm from. A lot of Eastern Kentucky wrestlers from high school are getting an opportunity there. I could see a lot of girls just in the state in general getting an opportunity there at UPike or any of the colleges in Kentucky that offer wrestling. And I think that we are on, I think there's only 280 some member schools in the KHSAA. I could see us having numbers of 200 plus within 10 years of this filming for wrestling boys and girls.
That's what we're hoping for. My final question for you is, what is the one thing that you haven't done in wrestling that you would really hope that you can do someday? Kind of your bucket list thing you'd like to do with wrestling.
I have and it's just a matter of time before it happens. I love to officiate. I want to officiate I just like to do it. But I want to get the state tournament back to the dungeon-esque atmosphere. The lights off, the beach balls, the music, the entrances, the spotlight on the mat, the pyro, like we had last night at Bellarmine, the pyrotechnics, the stadium lights, whatever you want to, like the concert lights. Give these high school aged kids something they'll remember forever. And I'm not trying to take away anything of what's being done now, but there's so much more that we could do, and that is what my goal is every time we have a video from the dungeon, I always say, best atmosphere the KYWCA ever produced. Boys Sweet 16, get out of here. Boys wrestling at the dungeon in Frankfurt from 96 to 2011 was the absolute best, and that's my goal, is whether it's go to the Board of Control, go to Mr. Tackett, Mr. Angola, whoever, and just like, please, just give us 1 year. Let us try it for 1 year. If you don't like it, fine, we'll never ask again. But I promise, if we do it right, this will be something that the rest of the country will be like, daggone, why aren't we doing what Kentucky's doing? Look at what Kentucky's, why can't we be more like Kentucky?
Well, we've got a great group of coaches, referees, officials, administrators that are all trying to push for that and make wrestling better in Kentucky. And you're one of the biggest ambassadors, and we can't thank you enough for all you've done. And so happy to have you as a distinguished member of the Hall of Fame for the Kentucky Wrestling Coaches Association.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate that, and I just want to. There's no saying that we just want to maintain. We just want to maintain what we've got. And I've said in so many videos, as long as I'm able and I'm on this side of the camera screen, I promise there's not going to be another sport in the country that does more for their sport than what Kentucky wrestling does, because for far too long, man, we've been overlooked, and those days are over.
Yep, we're here.
So, Coach, thank you for doing this interview with me. I hope you all enjoy the Hall of Fame speeches. We will see you guys and girls on the mats.